When I Google, how much sleep does my child need? The range shared for children between the age of 2 and 5 years old is 10 to 14 hours. That is a huge range. That is a 4 hour difference. So, how do you know if your child needs 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period? That's what I'm going to help you figure out today. But before I dive in, I want to share that enrollment is open for my toddler and preschool sleep program that also comes with that opportunity to join me for 7 support Zoom sessions that I am offering throughout May. While this program, called Your Preschool Sleep Champion, is always open for enrollment, it only comes with these special Zoom sessions 3 times per year. I won't be offering coaching like this again until September. So if you're looking for an easy way to get some extra support from me while you improve your 2.5 to 6-year-old sleep, now is the time to join. To learn more, visit www.allisonegidi.com/YPSC or click on the link in the show notes. Or if you don't even want to go through that trouble, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will send you the link. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of 2. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. Parents are often surprised to learn how much sleep young children can benefit from and the amount of sleep that allows their child to be their best little self. So, let me give you some reference points before we dive in on how to figure out how much sleep your child needs. After working with hundreds and hundreds of children through my one-on-one coaching over the past 6.5, almost 7 years, I have found that children who are between the age of 2.5 to 3 years old do best with 12 to 14 hours of total sleep in a 24-hour period. For this age group, this sleep is ideally split between night sleep and a nap, with 11 to 12 hours of night sleep and an hour to 2.5 hours of napping. If you happen to have a child under the age of 3 who isn't napping, you ideally want them sleeping 12 plus hours at night. Children who are 3.5 to 5 years old are going to thrive with 10.5 to 13 hours of total sleep in that 24-hour period. A child in this age group may still be napping or they may have dropped the nap. If they are still napping, it's ideal for them to get 10.5 to 12 hours of night sleep and 1 to 1.5 hours of napping. If they are no longer napping, they should be sleeping 11 plus hours at night. Just as a point of reference, my 8.5-year-old sleeps 11 to 11.5 hours at night, and my 10-year-old sleeps 10 to 10.5 hours at night. Now, these are some big ranges, even for my own children who are only 18 months apart, by the way. They have noticeably different sleep needs, one needing about an hour more sleep than the other. So, how do you know if your child needs 11, 12, or 13 hours of sleep in this 24-hour period? There are a few indicators to help guide you to your child's optimal amount of sleep. The first thing I always check in on is whether or not parents need to wake their children up to go to school or to go to daycare. If you need to wake your child up occasionally, that's likely not a big deal. But if you're routinely waking your child up to go to school or daycare, I assure you that they are not getting their optimal amount of sleep. If your child is particularly irritable in the afternoon or evening, that would also be a really good sign that they could benefit from more sleep. With Ainsley, I always knew that if she started to hit Addison when she was frustrated, she needed more sleep because she actually wasn't someone who was naturally a hitter. So that was a clear sign. Every child's little sign is going to be a little bit different. If your child is exhausted at bedtime, I promise they could benefit from more sleep. Many parents don't realize this, but you actually don't want to be seeing tired signs when you put your child to bed. You want them to be able to hang throughout the afternoon and evening and to just be content heading into bedtime. You don't want to be seeing lots of yawning or crumbling behavior. When I see my kids yawning, I know, like, oh, wow, they need a little bit more sleep. So, generally speaking, if your child is sleeping in the ranges that I shared, you're not needing to wake them up in the morning. And if they are acting well rested, they are likely getting their ideal amount of sleep. If they aren't in these ranges, or they're struggling with getting up in the morning and or struggling with their behavior, or I should note, not hitting some of their milestones, they could most likely benefit from more sleep. And speaking of milestones, if your toddler or preschooler is struggling in a certain area that may require additional evaluation or therapy, or you're thinking about that, and they don't currently have great sleep habits, or you think, yeah, they probably could benefit from some more sleep, I would just like to encourage you to focus on improving their sleep habits. I cannot tell you how often I work with families to improve sleep habits, and then the parents report back to me that their child made huge developmental leaps, or their child's therapist saw massive amounts of improvement at a much faster speed. Obviously, sleep cannot fix everything, but it can be incredibly helpful in so many areas. And I don't think there's enough emphasis on this with this age group, probably with any age group, but really with this age group where we are just clinging to hitting milestones. So, what should you do if you realize your child isn't getting enough sleep? This may be stating the obvious, but if you determine your child needs more sleep, an earlier bedtime is almost always the answer. I want to state this again and stress this point. I know I'm a broken record. If you determine your child needs more sleep, an earlier bedtime is almost always going to be the answer. If you haven't listened to episode 1 yet, I make my case for an early bedtime in that episode. But I know many of you with toddlers and preschoolers may be thinking, hello, when I try to put my child to sleep now, they don't seem tired, or it takes them a crazy long time to fall asleep. So, how would putting them to bed even earlier help or be possible? They're never going to fall asleep. It's really important to understand that if a child has caught a second wind, it's going to take much longer for them to fall asleep because their natural pull to sleep has passed. And they often, at this point, will have a new burst of renewed energy. This happens to me, for example, if I stay up past 10 p.m. I have a pretty strong pull to sleep, my optimal pull to sleep between 9:30 and 10. If I stay up past 10, watch out, world, because now I could stay up for hours and work on whatever project I'm working on. And even if I have no issue falling asleep when I go to bed later because I'm so tired, I'm much more likely to end up waking up at 4 a.m. Because when I fall asleep past my ideal sleep window, not only do I catch that second wind that allows me to stay up late, I don't fall into as high a quality of sleep. And for me, that results in me either waking up in the middle of the night and having a hard time going back to sleep, or I wake up too early in the morning. I don't sleep all the way till 6 or 6:30. I'm like up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 5. It's so frustrating. These second winds happen to a lot of young children, and parents don't even realize it, but they're kicking in between 7 and 8 p.m. So even if you're skeptical after listening to this episode, I want you to start observing your child to see if you notice when their second wind kicks in. I can assure you that every week I am helping parents shift a child from falling asleep between 9 and 10 p.m. to falling asleep between 7 and 8 p.m. I'm doing it every week. And 9 times out of 10, the parents are very skeptical that it can work. And then they're shocked. when it works so easily. So even if you're skeptical, I just want to encourage you to keep an open mind. All right. I hope this episode helps you evaluate whether your toddler or preschooler is getting, quote, enough sleep. And if needed, I hope it inspires you to shift some things around to just see what it would look like if your child got a little bit more sleep. And if you're looking for more help around shortening the entire bedtime process or ending middle of the night wakings, I encourage you to enroll in my May Your Preschool Sleep Champion coaching session. This is for parents who have a child or maybe more than one. You can put multiple kids into the program between the age of 2.5 and 6 years old. In just 2 to 3 weeks, you'll go from having bedtimes that take hours and middle of the night wakings to having a child who can happily go through their bedtime routine in less than 30 minutes, and you can be walking out the door, and a child who will confidently sleep in their own bed in their own room all night. The welcome Zoom call is Wednesday, May 3rd, so enroll today. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or find the link in the show notes. I hope you'll join me again here next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.